On July 11th, 2015, Satoru Iwata, the president of Nintendo, passed away, and we lost one of the greatest minds that Nintendo has ever known. I won't dive too deep into his backstory here, because it's been stated so many times on the internet lately. But early on in his career, he developed an arcade game called Balloon Fight for Nintendo. It was later ported to the Famicom and NES, and spawned a massive legacy for its memorability as a Nintendo product, even though it never really became much of a series. Sure, there was a sequel, there was a few spin-offs, and a lot of ports, but it's most memorable through references to it in other games like WarioWare, Nintendo Land, and Super Smash Bros. But even now, many people I've talked to haven't played this game. Before now, I've never played it. So why is it such a memorable game? Let's find out. What better way to remember Mr. Iwata than to play one of his earliest games, one of his biggest masterpieces at Nintendo? Let's take a look. From the start menu here, we've got three options: a single-player game, a two-player game, and Balloon Trip. I think the best place to start here is the single-player mode. Alright, so we got our little guy down in the corner, and we have to take out these goblin-looking guys by popping their balloons and stomping on them when they don't have any. A neat little thing I figured out almost immediately, though, is that if you attack them before they can even get their balloons inflated, then you end up getting rid of them in one hit, no problem. If you get good at that, you can get a pretty good leg up on the enemies before the real battle even starts.
Also, while it gets you less points, it is a lot more satisfying to see the goblin guys float down to the water at the bottom of the screen, rather than get stomped again by you. That way, we can see them get eaten by the big fish in the water. And yes, that is the same fish from the Ice Climber stage in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. So for those of you that hated it in Smash, get ready to relive the pain because you can die from this guy too.
It's pretty straightforward as far as single-player modes go. The game plays a lot like Joust, and more enemies show up on different stage layouts as the game progresses. Every few levels, you get to play a bonus stage, where these balloons float up from 4 pipes at the bottom of the screen. There are 20 in total, and it can be kinda hard to get all of them, but it is just a bonus game, so it wouldn't make any mark against you if you can't get a perfect score. Okay, now here's another thing you may recognize. This flipper up near the top of the level. When you or any enemies hit it, it sends that person flying away and keeps spinning for a bit, doing the same to anyone that gets anywhere near it. This item was also featured in Super Smash Bros. Melee, where it did a similar thing and frustrated millions of kids worldwide, until they grew up and stopped playing with items on. So while it does get to be a pretty repetitive game, it keeps you entertained, so it fulfills its purpose as an arcade and classic console game. But there are still 2 more game modes that we need to explore here, so let's take a look at 2-player mode. But to do that, we're gonna need a second player. And that's why the evil within is a load of garbage! Wait. What? Hey, modern review version of myself. You wanna come play Balloon Fight with me? Balloon Fight, huh? Yeah, it was one of Satoru Iwata's first games, and there's a 2-player mode, and it's been pretty fun so far, and I also need to cover the 2-player mode, so you wanna come play it with me or something? Alright. For Iwata, I'll do it. Great, see you when you get here. Well, let's get going. The 2-player mode is very similar to the single-player mode, mostly because it's exactly the same with one difference: 2 players. While this can make the game a bit easy because you can clear a stage faster, it can also add some challenge because both players can hit each other. In more complicated stages with more enemies, this can be a big problem, as you're floating around the stage trying to hit enemies and will sometimes go after the same one, only to attack your friend. You are really sucking at this. Come on, I don't normally play these old games, dude. Well, get over it. We have to keep playing. And you'll notice that when I say it's exactly the same, I mean it. You're going through all the same maps that you would in the single-player mode, but you may get a little farther depending on how good the players are. If you work together and try to avoid each other, you should do well enough. Neither of us seem to be particularly good at this, but one is certainly worse than the other. Hey man, I'm trying here. Well, try harder. Great. Well, now I gotta carry this on myself. You know what? This is your fault. No, 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 please, no. No, you can't do this to me. I barely survived last time. You can't send me back into the Sonic Zone. This is insane. It's inhuman. It is hell in there. I can't survive it. Now that that's taken care of, let's move on to the next section of the game.
Balloon Trip is probably the most famous part of the game, as it was the mode that was just recently played at the Nintendo World Championships, and has its own part in Nintendo Land, the Wii U launch title that featured minigames based on other Nintendo franchises. And, of course, the music. The controls are no different, of course, but the way that it's played differs vastly from the single and two-player modes. In this, we're trying to go as far as possible and pop as many balloons as we can while avoiding these sparks in the sky. It seems like a pretty easy concept, and once you get used to it, it really is. But when you're just starting, it can be pretty difficult to get used to. And don't think that you can just go and memorize the whole track, because after the first section, everything is randomized. That first section really is very interesting, though. It teaches you how to properly maneuver your way through the sparks in all directions if you go for all the balloons. Or you could just fly over all of them. Once the sparks start moving, though, it's a whole different story. They can be anywhere, and as a result of that, sometimes it puts you in a seemingly unwinnable position. And hey, it just might be an unwinnable position. I can't imagine that random stage generation was at its peak in the mid-80s. I personally think that Balloon Trip is the main course to Balloon Fight. The other two modes are nice, but it just gets so addicting trying to get the high score on Balloon Trip. I sometimes find myself just dying and restarting over and over again for hours on end. Maybe that makes me crazy, but play it for yourself. See what you think. Part of what makes it so addicting is the encouragement to get every balloon possible. After you get a certain amount of balloons, they all change color and a small fanfare plays. Even that little sound bit is just so nice, though. It's really rewarding to hear, and in a way it's like, good job, now keep playing! Alright, this time I'm really gonna get it. I'm gonna make the top high score and get every balloon. Alright, we're off to a good start. Just gotta avoid all these things and get it, come on, oh yeah! Okay, let's keep it moving. Oh, not this time, you fishy bastard. Haha, take that. Go munch some Brawl players instead. Oh, this is a tricky one. Oh, doesn't matter, got through. Alright, high score, but don't stop there, keep going. It's really weird that all the balloons only ever change colors twice and then they stay the same, but whatever. No, I went down. Well, anyway. Balloon Fight is a very fun little game that definitely deserves the legacy that it's left behind, even if it never built much of a franchise off of it. And maybe someday soon, Nintendo will honor the memory of Mr. Iwata by bringing out a new Balloon Fight game. Honestly, I'd love to see Nintendo do anything to honor Mr. Iwata through a game. They may never do it because that's just the way they run things. They don't want to bring anyone down by reminding us of the loss of Mr. Iwata. But you know what? He meant a lot to all of us, and I know I'm getting this video out late, but he meant a lot to me, and I know he meant a lot to a lot of you. We just lost one of the greatest minds in gaming, and I want to dedicate this video to our fallen friend, Satoru Iwata. Iwata was a businessman, yes, but first and foremost, he was a gamer. He cared so much for all of us, because he was one of us. And so we thank you, Iwata. Thank you for everything. Thank you for helping us understand. Now, if you guys will excuse me, I think I'm gonna go play some more Balloon Fight for a while. Thanks for watching.